Hi everyone, Alan here. I haven't made a video for such a long time, sorry about that. Got quite busy over my summer holiday, anyway back at it. But what I really wanted to show you today is that aside from a few other mods I've done with my Triumph Tiger, I'll show them to you sometime. I actually bought another motorcycle, so we actually have 4 motorcycles in the garage now because we bought another small CBF 125 or CB125F for my wife to help her with her learning, but I also decided I needed something to help me learn how to ride off-road better than I do on the big bike. The big bike can be scary, especially down a very steep hill with your ABS and traction control off. The bike tends to slide, it's a very heavy bike, so I thought I will teach myself how to ride off-road properly on a smaller bike. I was looking at various options. Some of them that I was looking at was the Cove 450, which I haven't really seen one in real life here in Australia. But then there's also the MT 450, which really has taken off well in South Africa, in Australia. Sorry, I don't live in South Africa anymore. In Australia, plenty of people riding them. I went to something called the Dirty Weekend last year in September. Was run by Adventure Motor. There were a whole bunch of guys on the MT 450s there. That's the CF motorbike. They really loved it. It's not a light bike though. I was looking for something quite light. I was also looking at maybe the new KTM 390 R, but that's not out yet either, and I wasn't sure what price it was going to be. And then I was also looking at the Suzuki DRZ 400, which has been around since 2000, and I found that they still had some in dealerships. So in Australia, they haven't had the. We didn't even import the 2023 or 2024 models, I think, because they didn't make the safety standards or the noise standards or whatever standards for Australia. So they had some stock of the 2022 models brand new. So I thought, well, how about that one? It's got enough power. It's really well known. There's lots of spare parts. There are a lot of forums. Yes, it's got a carburetor. Not a big deal to me. It's got a 5-speed gearbox, which means you can't really, riding on the road's not that comfortable. But then I thought, may as well. There's a new Suzuki DRZ4S, I think it's called, and there's an SM coming out in Australia in the next couple of months. But from what I've seen so far, it's really expensive, and so not for me. And also the fact that it's a newer bike, the spares aren't going to be around really quickly for that. And there's so many third-party options for the DRZ, the version that's been around for the last 24 years. So anyway, I'll just introduce you to the new DRZ, and that's it over there. It's new. Bought it from the dealership. I think I've only had it for, well, I bought it probably around the 3rd of January or something like that, so not even 2 months, and I've already made some mods to it. I never made videos of it, small mods, so what I'll do right now is just show you what those are. So I'll just grab my camera off here. Okay, so the first thing that I did was I heard that the gear lever, especially with this little edge here, if you have an accident on the side, it can push in. I think they said that this casing's made of magnesium alloy and is quite soft. So what you do is you buy these kind of casings that you just put on with a high temperature silicone seal. So I've got one on that side, and then I've got another one on this side. So it's B&B off-road parts. Look quite nice, and this was kind of the one that most people used, so I just thought I'd get one that I knew people were saying the quality was good on. So the other thing that I put on, I was looking for a bash plate. So I looked around, and these guys here, Adventure Bike Australia, I met them also at this Adventure Motor Dirty Weekend at Green Farm Valley, Tinga in New South Wales late last year. They actually build up old DR650s and DRZs, and they put big bore kits on them and all kinds of things. Anyway, they recommended this force bash plate, and I really like it because it's got a bracket that you stick on underneath once you've taken the original pieces off. And then this thing fits just with one bolt, which is great because when you're doing oil changes and things like that, or you want to clean it properly, there's only one bolt you take out right underneath here, and the whole thing comes off. So really, really quick and easy. What are some of the other things I've done? I put bar risers on. So I was looking at bar risers and ones that I could pivot. So the most commonly known ones are the Rocks pivot ones. They were about $200. But then I found these from APE or Ape Racing. They were under $100 on eBay. So I got those. You can see they've got these ones, you can take this black insert out and then you can do it for the 1 1/8 size bars as well. I got them so that I could put the current bars on and the new bars, a thicker bar, because I've got the feeling I'm going to be replacing these stock bars soon. There are a lot of negative comments about these ones. If you have an accident with them, they're going to break. Anyway, we'll see. So not bad. The only thing with putting these on was that I found I had to actually change where the ignition was. The ignition was actually on the original, on these bolts over here and sitting over here, but I had to move it to the side, which is not a big deal. I actually like that it's there because you couldn't put it over this piece here with the bar risers. The other thing was, when I was looking online, people said, oh, there's plenty of space for the cabling and everything. It's not an issue to raise it by 2 inches. But I actually struggled, and I was fiddling around so much I ended up scratching the bar there and scratching the shock over there. So my advice, always use a towel. I did on my bigger bike. I didn't worry on this one with this one so much because it's a cheaper bike, but anyway, I learned my lesson. I did find, however, that once I'd put it back on, that I could open the throttle, but it wouldn't go back automatically. So I had to tilt the bars forward a little bit, which isn't a big deal because I actually like where they are now. I think if they were back a bit, it would not feel as comfortable while riding. But it did make a heck of a difference. I felt like I was bending over far too far off-road. Whereas with this, I'm not standing up as straight as I am on my Tiger 1200, but it's a lot better and I can stand up for a lot longer. Next thing that I did was put the handlebar protectors on. I got the bark busters, same as the ones I've got on my Triumph, just the different color obviously. It seems like you can get 2 types of bark busters for this one. You get the one with the more rounded handle here and the more rounded covers. I actually prefer these ones, to be honest. The other thing that I did was, actually, let me grab this out from underneath the car. Now. Now, this is what I want to show you. This is the original tail light cluster that came on the back of the bike, and that's what I've got on now. So it's like a tail tidy. As you can see, it's a massive difference. So what I went for was scrolling LED indicators, and it's a bit of a lesson there. I actually, you'll see on the originals, I actually cut off the wiring here because I used the connections so that I didn't have to change any of the connections on the bike itself. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to show you these are the other bark buster, the more rounded ones that you can get. I bought these at a separate place to the actual metal surround, and then found that these don't fit there, so I had to get the other ones. Anyway, not a big deal. I also still have some black ones that I put on my Triumph when I first started out. In any case, so what happened was I put everything on, put the indicators on, and everything looked like it was working. And then when I switched the indicators on, I found that I had now got hazard lights instead of indicators. So well, the first thing that I did was I thought, oh, okay, there's that other piece that I bought. So underneath here, I think this is it here, you have to actually change the relay, and you get a special LED relay for DRZ, which I changed, and I thought that would make all the difference. But all that does is stops the lights from flashing really fast, and they flash slower. So then I had the slower flashing LEDs. And then I thought, oh, what the heck's going on? I phoned the guys I bought them from. I bought them from these same guys again. And they said, oh, no, they're sure there's some other thing that I've got to do to it. And I thought, no, I've bought the relay. That must be all. But then I used my favorite YouTube University to find out what's going on. And I found that because this bike only has a single light to turns a signal indicator on it with the one light, what actually happens with the wiring circuit is that there's a wire that goes from left and right to this bulb over here. And what happens is, because you've lowered the resistance, the current actually goes over from left to right or from right to left, depending on which way you're indicating, and then all the lights come on. So the first way I learned how to get rid of that was just to pull the bulb out, and obviously that works, but that's not, it's against the law to ride apparently without that indicator. So then I had to look at what you needed to do, and I had to get some resistors or diodes from an electronics shop, and the diodes are basically, they will allow the current to go one way but not come back the other way. So what I had to do is the two wires that were coming into this bulb, you cut them off and you put two diodes on each side, and then they go into one wire which goes to the bulb, and then the other wire that comes from the bulb goes to ground, and that's what that little yellow piece is doing there. That's the ground going to the chassis of the bike. And then that worked, so that was all resolved. Just trying to think, is there anything else I've done? I don't think really. I bought this amazing stand. I just learned how to put the bike onto the stand myself, because it's the bike's, although the bike's really high, it's too low still to put the stand underneath it. So you've got to lift the bike onto the stand. The first time I did it with a friend of mine, and we struggled between the two of us, and I thought, how the heck am I going to do it on my own? But once you learn the technique, you can do it by actually lifting the front wheel with the front brake on, or the other way to do it is to grab the bike on the chassis here and lift it with your knee over the stand. What I do like about the stand is, first of all, it's hydraulic, and secondly, it's got wheels on it, so I can actually spin the bike around, and it actually pumps up quite high. I'll show you that when I'm actually doing my next mod. So I think that's it for the bike. I've been on two biggish trips in the bush with it already for a couple of hours, and I really enjoyed it. It actually made me feel very competent, which was strange, because I didn't feel competent on the big bike off-road, but with this thing it's like really riding a big mountain bike off-road, and I really enjoy it. So much so I've started looking for more off-road tracks around here, but unfortunately there aren't a lot. Actually, there is one thing I forgot about. Something else I've swapped out is the front mudguard, and that's just to give it a more modern look. The original mudguard just looked old-fashioned, and this one just gives it a much newer look. It fitted exactly in where before. The only thing that I've just cobbled together here was this piece here holding the speed, whatever you call it. There used to be a little hole in here, and because this plastic's at an angle, I thought, okay, I'll just zip tie it on, because there is actually a gap here that the other one didn't have. So all good in that direction. So the things I'm going to be doing next is, on the last trip I was on, it was quite a fairly long one, a couple of 100 Ks, and this bike only has a 7-litre tank, of which 2.5 litres is the reserve. So I'm used to having 30 litres in my tank now. I've really got 4.5 before I need to put the bike onto reserve, so it's given me a lot of range anxiety. So I did find that there was a 14-litre tank that will fit on there, and still all the other parts will fit. You do get 20 and even 30-litre tanks. I think Safari is a company that makes those, but then you can't put this back on, and it's a lot bigger. So I've got this one over here, which I have started putting together, and as you can see, it's like none of the yellows are actually the same. The yellow of the new Mudguard is not the same as the yellow of the rest of it, and this yellow is not the same as the rest either. What I do like about this tank, other than the fact that it is a 14 litre, so I get double the capacity, is that apparently, and I hope it's the case with this one, but everyone says it's true, is that you can see right through this one, so you can actually see the level of the fuel. So that'll actually quell my ranging anxiety. Yeah, I mean, that's all for this video. The next video will actually be how to take the old tank off and put the new tank on, and that'll be up next. Thank you very much for watching.